Rise, Meg.
The Force will be with you.
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, here to give you all of the news from a galaxy far, far away, and as always to provide you with a Mandalorian Season 3 update. In today's news, we're going to be talking about how Han Solo could appear in Season 3. We're also going to be talking about the link between Din Djarin and Ezra Bridger and much more. Before I dive into it, please may I ask you to hit like down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and make sure you bitch slap that notification bell to be alerted each and every time I post new content to the channel. You can expect daily Star Wars updates from me. Now without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So we're going to be kicking off with an article that states that Han Solo will reportedly show up in the Mandalorian universe. Now by the Mandalorian universe they mean in any of the spin-off shows like Rangers of the New Republic or Ahsoka, or it could be the Mandalorian Season 3 or 4. The de-aging technology might not have been entirely convincing, but Mark Hamill's surprise cameo in the Mandalorian Season 2 finale generated exactly the sort of reaction that Disney and Lucasfilm would have been hoping for from fans. Indeed, Jon Favreau's hit series has been tying itself closer to the overarching Star Wars mythology with each episode, delivering fan service on an epic scale without overdoing it. Now that we know The Mandalorian is set to spawn an entire small screen universe with the Book of Boba Fett, Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka, there's almost unlimited number of fan favourites and cult heroes that could theoretically appear. With that in mind, it's believed that Han Solo will be the next pillar of the original trilogy to show up in the Mandalorian's corner of the Star Wars universe, although it remains to be seen if lightning will strike twice in terms of impact. While Daniel Richman, an insider at Lucasfilm, as well as two other sources have claimed this, it should not be taken as gospel, especially when there's already a much more suitable avenue to have a roguish smuggler return. Din Djarin's adventures are set 5 years after Return of the Jedi and over 2 decades prior to The Force Awakens, with The Mandalorian and the 3 spin-offs looking to occupy their own pocket of the Disney Plus mythology. If a young Han Solo is going to show up anywhere on the streaming site, then surely Lando is the most obvious candidate. Not only is it expected to jump back and forwards between time periods, but we've already seen Alden Ehrenreich and Donald Glover pair up in Solo: A Star Wars Story, which presents a ready-made storytelling opportunity with an established history and canon for good measure. So personally, I'm in two minds about Han Solo showing up in Mando or in any of the spin-off shows to do with The Mandalorian, because Han Solo is such a beloved and pivotal character to the Star Wars franchise, and we've already seen a spin-off film to do with his backstory before A New Hope. I think it would be over-egging the pudding to show too much of what Han Solo's life was like outside of the original trilogy and the sequels. A big criticism of Solo: A Star Wars Story was not Alden Ehrenreich playing the role of Han Solo, but it was more the fact that they didn't leave much to the imagination when it came to Han Solo's backstory. It wasn't a spin-off that was necessarily needed. And to visually show what every single character got up to in the Star Wars franchise removes the element of mystery and imagination from fans. So I'm in two minds, because while I absolutely love Han Solo and instinctually say yes, absolutely put him in The Mandalorian, upon further reflection, this might actually damage his character. The reason Luke was so effective is not only we never saw post-Return of the Jedi Luke in all of his power like we did in Mando, but it was also reparative in terms of how this Luke Skywalker really repairs the damage done by Rian Johnson in the sequel trilogy to do with the Hermit that was Luke Skywalker later in his life, or as Mark Hamill calls him, Jake Skywalker. But as always, I turn it to you guys. Do you want to see Han Solo in the Mandalorian universe? Yes or no? Give me your reasons. So without any more jibber jabber, let's move on to our next article. This one is stating that Jon Favreau is planning a Star Wars holiday special that is set in the Mandalorian universe. George Lucas might hope that ignoring it and pretending as though it never existed may be enough to make it go away, but the infamous status of the Star Wars holiday special has only seen its mystique grow over the last 4 decades. Lucas has banned it from being broadcast ever again or released on home video, but everyone knows that people want the things they can't have the most. C-3PO's Anthony Daniels has joked that he barely recovered from the traumatic experience of starring in it and compared the atmosphere of that to a funeral, while Mark Hamill even asked for a presidential pardon for his involvement. Jon Favreau meanwhile admitted in the past that he'd love to make a modern day version of the holiday special, but he was beaten to the punch by the Lego arm of Star Wars, with the irrelevant family comedy proving to be a big hit on Disney Plus over the festive season. And by the way, I did do a full review of that and I did find it quite refreshing myself. However, The Mandalorian's co-creator and showrunner is still actively planning his own reinvention of the Star Wars Holiday Special, which will take place in the same universe as his hit TV show. Plot details are non-existent at this stage, but Boba Fett famously made his debut in the original, and given that he's getting his own spin-off next year, you would imagine that he's going to end up being involved once again, should the project end up happening. When it comes to the original Star Wars Holiday Special, I find extreme comedic value in it, and I do give my full reaction on my Patreon page on my Megasodes, which is my podcast. So now let's move on to an article that's talking about Ezra Bridger. So this is a fan theory that states that The Mandalorian Season 3 could reveal Mando's connection to a famous Jedi. With The Mandalorian Season 3 in pre-production, it's a mystery how 8 more episodes will expand upon this theme, but one theory posits that it could build up to a much anticipated Rebels cameo that blows the mystery of Din Djarin's backstory wide open. So the theory suggests that Din may have a biological brother he doesn't know about. What's more, that brother may be none other than Ezra Bridger, the Jedi protagonist of Rebels. It seems a bit far-fetched, as Din seems to be an orphan foundling adopted into Mandalorian society, but there's no firm evidence his parents ever died in the first place. If Din's biological parents did survive, they would have probably sought refuge on a different planet, one that escaped conflict in times of war. Lothal fits that description perfectly, meaning Ezra could have been born to Din's parents after they emigrated. And by the way, the timeline does match up. Although it's still unknown how old Din was when he was adopted into the Children of the Watch, or when he was born, Ezra, who was born 19 years after the events of A New Hope, could technically have the same parents as Din. However, just because Din's parentage hasn't been explored yet doesn't mean it should. Din is very content to be the Mandalorian first and Din Djarin second, so it's possible he may not be interested in seeking out his biological family. Still, Ezra, wherever he may be, could learn of Mando's true identity and realise the connection. While this theory is by all means far-fetched, it's certainly a surefire way to bring Ezra Bridger into the main cast of Mando very quickly while delivering a major twist. When Mando met Ahsoka, he was shocked at the idea of a Mandalorian and a Jedi fighting alongside each other. The only thing more shocking would be finding out he has a brother who's also a Jedi. There is another piece of evidence you might not expect. The most peculiar one is from the actor Bernard Bullen, who played Din's father in Season 1. In an interview, Bullen says that he was never brought in for an audition. This could mean his casting was done purely by resemblance, paving a way for a Season 3 reveal. He says, "I didn't even know which project it was very secretive. When I found out, just imagine my reaction. It was to be the father of the Mandalorian. The craziest thing of this is that I never auditioned." The actor, who briefly appears in a Season 1 flashback sequence, explained that information about his character was doled out on a need-to-know basis, and he wasn't told much. So personally, I think this theory is very far-fetched, but it is interesting and I wanted to bring it up with you guys because I want to know your thoughts about this. A lot of people have been talking about potentially Ezra Bridger coming back in The Mandalorian Season 3, but now that we know Ahsoka has a spin-off show, he's most likely to appear in that one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That is all of the news I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I will see you next time. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.